Hi, this is David. Welcome to Part 2, Topic 6, Malz Chapter 6. And the chapter is called Credit and Counterparty Risk in the textbook Financial Risk Management by Alan Malz. It's a long chapter that covers quite a bit of introductory material in the credit risk topic. And that's Topic 6 in the Part 2 FRM, of course. The associated workbook has a file name of t6.malz.6.creditrisk. That's because we have Topic 6 of the Part 2 FRM. Malz is the author. 6 is Chapter 6 of his book, and it's about credit risk. And you can see that this workbook, which contains 4 worksheets, is highly relevant to preparation if you're using spreadsheets, where we can see some concrete illustrations of the concepts that we're going to look at in the video. So that includes the transition matrix, also known as a migration matrix, the Merton model, which is really popular in the Part 2 FRM. I think it's assigned sort of or referenced in at least 3 different areas. So it's always been popular in the Part 2, or at least it's always been popular in the credit risk portion of the FRM, the illustration of the single factor model, and also I recreated the example in the chapter of the credit value at risk, or credit VAR. So the examples in the worksheet, much of this matches or recreates what you would see in the chapter, but you get to see it more concretely in the spreadsheet. So as far as the learning outcomes, there's quite a few conceptual or just memorization sorts of learning outcomes, including we're asked to describe securities with different types of credit risks. And Malz includes corporate debt securities, which he says are the only type that can default in the narrowest sense of the word. And that includes fixed and floating rate bonds and bank loans. Sovereign debt, credit derivatives, of which he says credit default swaps are the most important and widespread. And then structured credit products. So that refers to bonds that are backed by collateral pools, for example, mortgage loans, student loans, credit card loans. And he says that often these structured credit products cannot default in the narrowest sense. Rather, the issuer files for bankruptcy. So in the discussion about capital structure, which will lead to the Merton model as a structural model, we're asked to differentiate between book and market values for a firm's capital structure. And so this simple capital structure here, which is the underlying assumption of the Merton model, which is to come, has a simple firm with assets on the left-hand side, so to speak, the value of those firms' assets, and then the claims on those assets here in the simple structure. There's only 2 sorts, only 2 types of claims, the debt and the equity, which is the residual. And so the value of the firm's assets is going to equal debt plus equity. That's the balance in the balance sheet. Why do they need to balance? Why will they balance? Well, because the equity is going to be a residual. So the equity is the assets minus the debt. The equity being a residual guarantees the balance. And so book values refer to the carrying amounts or carrying values on the balance sheet. And so book value really implies that it's the values per the accounting conventions. So, for example, in terms of fixed assets, we could have the book value of plant, property, and equipment. That would be a long-term fixed asset, and that's going to be carried on the balance sheet as an asset. And the value that's going to be on that balance sheet is going to be gross value, typically historical cost, minus accumulated depreciation. And that is really according to accounting conventions or accounting rules. So that's what the accounting rules say is the book value. And really nobody thinks that that is an exact match to the market or economic value. The market value, it would be the value that the asset would trade in an arm's length transaction in the marketplace. And so in theory, we could take the accounting book values and make adjustments to them to get a market value. And you'll notice that Malz makes the point that market value should incorporate all factors such as credit risk.